Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z.
And I'm Keith.
And we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we had humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show. Also, apparently it's pronounced Grise. John Grise.
Oh. How were
German.
you saying it?
Grise.
Grease.
But it's I-E, which in German, I'm assuming it's a German name, given that pronunciation, because in German, the first vowel is the one you say.
Mm.
Not vowel. Yeah.
Yeah, you
right,
said it
vowel.
right. You meant consonant, but you said vowel.
No, sometimes I say vowel, and I think I'm saying syllable.
Okay, I see that. Sometimes they say marshmallow, and I think I'm saying
Wheelbarrow.
mushroom. I get those. I don't get the two things confused, but my brain sometimes says marshmallow when I mean mushroom, and vice versa.
It's true. I think I've experienced that.
Same with hemorrhoids and hernias. That was a thing.
That makes sense to me.
Because for whatever reason, I could not. Well, for that, I used to get them confused as to what they were.
Right.
I was like, I don't understand.
Well, as a kid, they're both treated with the same, like, ew, nasty butt stuff. It's related to shitting somehow. Like, I always felt like hernias I always thought they had to do with
pooping.
Like your genitals or your butthole,
right, yeah.
because of how people talk about them.
Well, I knew a hernia you would get from like lifting too much. You could get a hernia.
Yeah, but
I didn't. It wasn't so much that I didn't know.
It's closer to like a prolapsed anus is how,
yeah, right.
rectum is how
it's a prolapsed.
Is how I imagined it before, and I still don't. I'm having never seen or experienced one firsthand. It's still in the realm of. I've had a hemorrhoid or two by now, so
hell yeah.
Full transparency.
I've not had a hernia, but I'm always afraid of having a hernia since my dad had a hernia, and he had surgery.
And you found out after the fact that he had been in surgery.
Well, yeah, but, well, I knew he was going to have hernia surgery. I just didn't know when. And then it was like, oh, it happened. And I'm like, okay, cool. It was when he was having hernia surgery, and while they were fixing the hernia, they found a hernia underneath the hernia that had started to heal, that he'd had for like a very long time, apparently, like 20 years or something. So I'm always scared that I have it, because I guess they don't just, like, if you have a hernia, they don't just fix it. They wait until it gets big enough to fix. I don't exactly understand. Yeah. It's like, I guess it's the same as like cataracts. You don't just fix cataracts. You have to wait till you're like a specific,
Well, I think it's one of those things, like the same for me. Like I'll eventually have to
you'll have to get heart surgery. Yeah.
But they wait because.
Yeah.
It only lasts so long. Like the benefits of it only.
Yeah.
So that's not terrifying enough.
Yeah. I laughed. I laughed because I agree with you.
I figured.
But yeah, ever since that, I was like, oh God, what if I have a hernia? And someone was like, well, you're not a man or whatever. And I was like, well.
Funny you should say that.
Funny you should say that. Anyway. We watched.
I'll tell you what, this conversation has given me some high spirits.
Fuck off. Wow, it was a drudge of a movie. There were things I enjoyed about it. None of those things were Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, right.
No offense. I don't know what it is about him, but him is a romantic lead.
He's great in The Boys from Brazil.
Okay. Him as a romantic lead is disturbing to me. I just don't enjoy it. That's
anti-Semitic.
It weirds me out.
No, I know. Same with Albert Brooks.
Yes, God.
Always confusing to me.
Yeah.
So those movies, I've never really watched any of those movies.
Yeah.
Like Defending Your Life and shit.
Oh man, Defending Your Life. I just remember how stupid. It was so boring. I couldn't get through it. Yeah. I associate Albert Brooks with something being really boring and pretentious.
Yeah.
And Steve Guttenberg with something being a little too cheesy to be believable. Like that's how he gets cast, and not in a fun way. Like a little too over the top for it to feel like you're not watching a student production or something.
Yeah, I think it's right. I think
no offense, students.
My first introduction to him is the Police Academy franchise.
Yeah, like that's
which
fine.
Fits, exactly. That's an appropriate level of zany for him, where he's the straight man almost, because everybody else is acting insane around him.
Right.
And that works, I think. It's been a while since I've never revisited.
What works about it is that everyone's so ridiculous around him that it doesn't rely on him to be a good actor.
Yeah.
Just not as crazy as everyone else.
He's not Robin Williams, right?
Yeah.
Like he can't carry.
No, he can't carry a movie.
He can't hold the zany.
No, he can't hold the zany, but also he isn't zany.
Right. That's what I mean. And by hold, I mean like hold the space.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I don't mean like stay
Sorry,
in character.
Gutenberg. We're just this episode is us.
I think he's good in something. I mean, he's also the lead in Cocoon.
Oh God.
Which probably doesn't work because it's kind of a romantic lead. So.
Yeah. We'll see. I've never seen Cocoon, so I'll have to watch that and see how uncomfortable I am.
Yeah.
With it.
Probably a lot.
We'll see. Yeah.
Short Circuit.
See.
Remember how we tried to watch that?
Yeah, I was gonna say I loved those movies when I was a kid, but like as an adult, it was really hard to actually finish the movie, and we didn't finish the movie. We said, you know what?
It's really not worth it.
Yeah.
I can't. No matter how many G.W. Baileys and is it Ali Sheedy?
Yeah.
You throw at it. Oh.
And what is it? Goldberg or no? It's something Goldsmith. Hold on.
The guy who plays the South Asian character.
Yeah, that is very much not.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sure.
Is it Jonathan Silverman?
It's not. Short Circuit. It is. I mean, it's going to be like.
Who directed that shit while you're there?
It is.
But he's very much like definitely the first half of the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Fisher Stevens, Goldberg.
Fisher Stevens. Is he related to Midnight? No. Midnight? Hold on.
Are you saying M. Night?
Nope.
Okay.
M. Night Shyamalan?
Yeah.
Shadow Stevens. Midnight.
Hold on, let me see who directed it. It's probably going to be someone.
Brian De Palma.
Oh man.
William Friedkin.
John Badham.
Mm-hmm.
Who also directed War Games.
Okay. Did he also direct Daryl, the acronym, which I really want to watch because I've never seen that.
Oh, he did 6 episodes of Psych.
Or did he? Get it? Got it. Well, the good news, though, is that there's too many people.
Oh, my God. He did Point of No Return.
What is that? Which one's that?
That's the American version of La Femme Nikita, which is not good.
Weird.
Wow. He directed Saturday Night Fever.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
Holy shit.
Okay, well, he's got
What a woman.
Yeah, he's got some oeuvre. He directed an episode of Kung Fu.
Oh, Grasshopper.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. This movie...
As I was saying, the good news is there's way too many people in it.
Yeah.
It's meant to be an ensemble, I think.
Oh.
It is not at all. It's just a clusterfuck.
Yeah, it's a clusterfuck. Neil Jordan says that this movie is like the version he shot is not, he's one of those that like he had no input over the editing process and it got put together.
That is clear.
Yeah. And
it's like whomever edited this. I hates movies. I don't know. Oh man, this is going to be my least favorite from the series that we're this easily
month's series.
Easily.
Yeah. And yeah. It's definitely.
I'll tell you what, I'll even take Interview over this one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't hate Interview because I'm not a monster, but yeah.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, you don't have the nostalgia.
I don't have the problem with being labeled a monster.
You don't have the nostalgia, and you also don't care about Neil Jordan as much as I do, apparently. You just don't have you don't like queer straight men.
Queer straight men?
Yeah.
Look, as a queer straight man, I take offense.
The first cis trans man.
Shout out.
God,
that is the best ever.
I know. Right. The fucking anyway. we saw like a Deep Space Nine like character panel or whatever, and it was like describing each character and like what they are, and it said Bashir was the first cis trans man on television, and oh man, I've never. That's so fucking accurate. It's so fucking painfully accurate and hilarious. And like not an insult. It's not an insult. It's just
it's especially so great because of how many people are on that cast that are very small physically.
Right.
You know, like Armin Shimmerman and Aaron Eisenberg are not.
No.
Aaron Eisenberg is like. I forget this. He was like an adult working on that show.
Yeah,
I didn't realize.
Yeah, he was a full adult when he started playing Nog. The 11-year-old or whatever Nog.
And he seems shorter than.
Yeah, he's pretty short.
Who plays Rom?
Max Grodenchik.
Grodenchik, yeah. Also small.
He traumatized me. Max Grodenchik traumatized me. You know this, but I've never worded it quite like this. He did. I literally had to like walk out because it was so painful. I was at a convention.
Oh.
And he did, and it's no shade to him. I'm sorry that anyone asked you to do this. Mm-hmm. He did a rap as like, I don't know. I had to exit the building. I was like, I can't.
That's good.
It was so hard. It was like so much secondhand embarrassment that I have trouble seeing him in things now.
Oh, wow.
Like I cannot. This is something about me. Yeah. White people rapping anything, like especially like once you're over the age of like 30 to 40 and you start doing a rap as a bit.
No, that's the best time to start.
I cannot like anybody that's like watch this and then they start to I'm like I can't. There's something about it. It's like it's literally like skin crawling, gonna have a panic attack anxiety that I cannot handle it. It's too much.
That's too bad because my name is Keith and I'm here to say rapping by white people is here to stay.
If you don't make a trailer out of that, I will be making a trailer out of that. So horrible. Oh my God. Anyway, this is the last episode. We just broke up.
Turn out the light.
This does not have.
There's no Stephen Ray.
There's no Stephen Ray, which, yeah, I mean.
There's actually an embarrassing shortage of Irish actors as far as I could tell. I mean, all the Apparently, Irish actors are the staff, which
of the movie.
It's fine.
Or in the movie, not of the movie.
Because they live in the castle.
Yeah.
In Ireland.
The Castle Blumpkin.
Yep. Magnum PU.
Yeah. I loved Peter O'Toole in this. He was so ridiculous. Great. Like, I've never really seen him do, like, I felt like he was doing such, like, a dry comedy performance, and it was so ridiculous. Speaking of dry comedy.
That's why he's my mentor.
I think you mean Mentos. The fresh maker. He, the way when he's talking to the ghost of his dad.
Did it never occur to you that I might need some advice? That I might miss you?
Oh, Peter, I never thought it was
true. You old ghost. I missed your daddy.
Oh, give your daddy a hug. Oh, sorry, Peter.
So good. And then when he takes a drink of and he's he does so many things. I wanted more. I was like, there needs to be more.
Right
Peter
before
O'Toole.
That,
yeah,
where they take the shots when they're going up, and he plows through the chairs. I was really impressed with that.
My father's brew.
Perfect.
Yeah, like he.
And also, we had some debate about. There's a scene where it's when the knight's armor is coming down the stairs, and when he jumps over it.
Yeah,
we had some debate, or I don't want to call it debate.
He said, "Is that him?" And I said, "I don't think so."
Just jumping over it.
Yeah, just because it didn't seem like they didn't seem as long in the neck, and they didn't seem like I
felt like there was too much of his face to the camera for it to
see. You would think that, but this movie, I don't think anybody gave.
I just feel like if that scene was the one where it was apparent, then there would have been a lot more. What's the matter?
Oh! I was looking at the seconds and not the minutes, and I'm like, how have we been talking for 40 minutes? We have not been talking for 40 minutes.
I'm right now working on editing the Butcher Boy episode. It's only like an hour long.
Yeah, we didn't talk that long about Butcher Boy.
That's with the lobby.
Yeah, we didn't. I know. Yeah, we didn't talk super long on that one.
I was surprised.
Yeah, I'm. I was worried last night. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to say about this. Bever D'Angelo. I think she's super hot. Like, she's super hot. I think she does great with what she's given in this, because she's supposed to be like the bitchy wife, and she does great with it. But also, I'm like,
National Lampoon's also, she's kind of a nag or whatever.
Yeah, that was like her shtick. You know, she was like.
That's too bad. Also on SVU.
Yeah.
She's a horrible lawyer.
Yeah. And her character was like very strange in this movie, taking all kinds of turns that I didn't get, like whatever. But like,
you want to go through the premise or the plot real quick? Vaguely, because we can't go too deep without it.
There is nothing deep to go about.
Well, I just mean trying to describe it with any detail other than Peter O'Toole is the heir of this castle. They're out of money.
Yeah.
And it opens with him on the phone call to an American or someone in America.
Well, so here's what the thing is. He's
also never addressed is how Liam Neeson is a relative of Beverly D'Angelo.
They have the same last name.
Correct.
Right.
Otherwise never addressed.
That's fair. Also, did he die on the same night? Because his ghost is killing her ghost over and over. Whatever. So, yeah. But, like, Plunkett and Bogan or whatever, because...
Elsie.
O'Toole. Peter O'Toole is Plunkett. His last name is Plunkett, which is Daryl Hannah's last name, and in the movie. And then the Bogan or whatever, who's Beverly D'Angelo, and her dad is who sent her to the castle or whatever.
Right.
And like, so it's like somehow they both, like, Plunkett is like, has had the castle in his family for a long time, but like Bogan like owns the castle.
He owns the mortgage or something?
Yeah, it's very, that part was confusing.
I see you want to move the castle to Malibu, which I am to presume lies on the western corner of those United States. Mr. Brogan, if I cannot send your payment, how on earth do you expect to transport an entire castle across the sea? The number of stamps alone is mind-boggling.
Brogan. Is that what I said?
No, you said Bogan.
Okay.
More in the mic, please.
So, yeah, like they decide, it's very weird. They decide to do, because it's like the castle's
failing. It's also a hotel. It's already a hotel.
The castle hotel is failing, so they decide to make it a ghost-themed castle, and they rig up all this
We already
stuff.
have a theme. It's Castle Hotel.
Right? They rig it up with a bunch of like silly parlor tricks. My favorite is the mirror. I love when they do that one because it's like,
it's holograms somehow?
Yeah, it's holograms, and like they're so believable that like Steve Guttenberg is like trying to fight one off of Beverly D'Angelo, who then says no means no, and I don't want to have sex with you. And so that, I feel like that's like a really good sign when you're married to someone that's like, I do not want to have sex with you to any degree.
I just want to say
you don't
their arc is similar to the beginning of Crampton and Combs' dynamic in Castle Freak.
But without any explanation as to why.
Yeah, she's just a frigid bitch.
Yeah, she's just a bitch.
She married him. It's very confusing because it's like, wait, he doesn't.
Remember in Castle Freak how
it would have made sense if he married her for her status and money, but he's just a journalist,
right?
Sort of,
or some, is that what he is?
I think so.
Okay, I didn't know.
I think he thinks he's there to do a report, a piece on it, but that never really comes up.
I missed that. Remember how in Castle Freak, Jeffrey Combs ate pussy?
No, I forget.
Do you remember that?
No.
I think about it sometimes. Like kudos to Jeffrey Combs, you know.
Yeah. Totally. Remember how the Castle Freak didn't bites off a titty?
And her, oh fuck, what did Liam Neeson call it? A balobas or something? I don't know.
Oh, lady, I've got the best bahoogies from here to Ballinderry.
Boobalubas. He just kept referring to his.
Oh yeah, right.
His down there area as like baloney or something. I don't know. It was something not great. What the fuck is this movie? Anyway, they do a ghost themed castle, but with fake ghosts, and then surprise,
and then the real ghosts get pissed off,
real,
and we'll show you how this is done.
Yeah, and then they come out, and then everyone is mad, and everybody keeps trying to leave, and then they don't let them leave, and then the ghosts keep coming.
What's kind of sad is you can see how this mic could work. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
I could anyway.
I'm curious. I mean, the only thing I'd ever be interested in is to see Neil Jordan's
director's cut
version of it. He says it's locked away in a vault somewhere or whatever. So Neil Jordan, there's such a high demand.
Oh, and he wrote it too.
Yeah, he wrote it. Yeah.
Which apparently he almost always does.
Yeah.
His own scripts.
Yeah. Not surprising considering.
Well, and I watched a video, I don't know if you saw it, but it was one I watched today. He's talking about his quote first gig, I think is the name of the program. It's like how you got into the biz or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he said he had a book of short stories that some director had read.
Yeah.
And then invited him to come work on a script, a screenplay.
Wow, that's amazing.
And then he was like, oh, well, how about I shoot a documentary of you making this film?
Yeah.
And he was like, that's how I learned to make films.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Isn't that cool?
That's so cool because that explains why his style is so different.
Good.
And so, and so like,
yeah, he didn't go to school.
Yeah, and it explains why he doesn't so much follow the formula.
Right.
Of like, it's not formulaic. It tells a story, but not so much from start to finish as just from the interesting parts of the story.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, his stuff is really okay. Yeah, all the things. I'm really glad we did this because all the things.
Hang on.
Okay.
Because the movie was Excalibur. John Boorman is the director.
I'm really glad we did this because all the things
she said
running through my head. Yeah, all the things about him are super interesting. Like the one you sent today where he was talking about having been homeless.
Yeah.
And the way he talks about it, he's like, I'm glad I went through that because people don't understand people have a misunderstanding of it. And I'm glad that I experienced it. And I'm like, man, what a cool guy, man. He's just like...
I felt I had mixed feelings about that.
Yeah.
The way he talks about it, but I mean, clearly it's...
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense how he's able to write the way that he does, how he's able to direct and make characters the way he does, because he's not coming at it from an outsider's perspective. He's coming from it as having lived these experiences.
Like
maybe not to the degree that he's writing it, but like he's not writing poverty or, working class as like some strange, and he doesn't direct it like some weird other like thing or like unrealistic. Like it's really interesting. And and I like the way he talked about how he starts writing things. He sees like an image and then he starts writing stuff from that. And I'm like, man, I love that because like, I mean, Thomas Harris said something similar in that he was like, I'm paraphrasing, of course, because I can never remember the actual like quote, but I think it was like at the beginning, like some foreword or something that he wrote for, I think it was Red Dragon. When it was like re-released when the movie came out, the book, I mean, and he said
the book was re-released when the movie came out.
Yeah. I think that's what happened. And he was saying how like he never considers himself as someone who like creates a story. Like the story is there. It's just him getting, and that's how I don't feel like when
you're not carving an image into the stone, you're removing the stone from the...
Well, no, I mean, like, I get that because that's always how it feels. Like, I don't make up stories. Like, they come to me. Like, I don't think of something and I'm like, oh, I would like for this. I, like, see something and, like, I can't make it happen the way that I want it to happen. It has to happen the way the story unfolds. And I really feel like I don't have control over that at all. Like, I don't feel like I have any sort of control over the direction that the story goes. So, like, whenever people talk about, like, oh, I don't make stuff up, stuff comes to me and I write it down. I'm like, yeah, no, that's how it feels. Like, I don't feel like I'm sitting there coming up with ideas for a story and trying to make that a reality. I feel like the story's there. I'm just trying to understand it. Like, I'm like, oh, I have to, like take it in. And that's why sometimes it's not always easy to sit down and write because like I'm like, okay, I have to see the story. I have to see how it unfolds. And I can't just make that happen. Like it has to come to me when it wants to. And that sounds silly maybe, but like, I don't know how to, cause like I understand the concept that
I've heard lots of writers say this kind of thing. I cannot relate to it. I mean, but I don't write fiction. So
I can understand I understand why it might seem like nonsensical to say like, because I understand it all comes out of my head, to be like, I don't make it up. What I mean is like, I don't say I want to write a story about a guy doing a thing.
Right.
And then that comes, that's not how it comes.
Yeah.
Like if I did that, I would sit down and I'd be like a guy doing a thing, nothing would happen. Like I would not be able to make any, I would get so bored. I would get so
structuralist that I would have to say like, here are the points that I want to happen.
You can do that, but like, it doesn't happen. Like it doesn't like all of the stories I write, like as they come, it's like it feels like it sounds so stupid, but it feels like they're submerged, and like as they're coming out, I see like points of them, and then like this story starts coming up, and I see more, and I'm like, oh, that's how they all connect, and then as it fully fleshes out, the whole thing, is out of the water, and I'm like, oh, I see it all now. So like you get like certain points of it at first, and you're like, okay, and then you're like, how do they connect? And then that it never is a
Do you write it like that though? Do you write out those first points?
No, I don't usually write. So I'm really superstitious. I don't really like to write things down because No,
I didn't mean like
okay.
Notes. I meant like, is that how you write a story? Like it reveals itself as the way it's revealed to you. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes, but I don't. Yes and no. So what I do is, it's like I start to see points of it. I'm like, this is interesting. So I'm going to keep thinking about those points. But I don't, that's what I'm saying. I don't write it at first because sometimes you see the points and then it just goes back under and you're like, oh, there's nothing there. Like it didn't,
She didn't really want to breathe. Okay, we're going to take a break real quick. Be right back.
Sometimes it comes up, goes back down, comes up, goes back down. Like, I'll see, I'm like, oh, yeah. I'll see it, and I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about that, and it's, like, really exciting, and I'm like, ooh, I love this idea. And then it just, like, goes away, and I'm like, ooh, yeah, nothing. I can't do anything with it. Like, I don't, it never goes past that point, so I don't. And then sometimes that happens a couple times. Uh-huh. And then it starts coming, to fruition, and then it starts, and I'm like, oh, this and this and this. So I don't really start writing it until I have more of a concept of like all the things happening around it, and I have to really be thinking about something for a while before I actually try to write about it, because I can get an idea, I can get really excited about it, I can be like, oh my god, and then I start writing about it, and I'm like, wow, this is nothing. Nothing's. I don't know what the fuck I'm thinking. So I usually like let it simmer for a while before I try to write about it. But I do like the first draft, and that's it being like a fleshed out story, and sometimes like I don't really like, sometimes like I think it's a lot more solidified than it actually is, and then something else will pop up and I'm like, oh fuck, and I'll start over, or I'll like whatever. But usually once I get a full,
I wish we had some HBO style animation right now.
Once I get a full like draft out, that's when I like, that's usually okay, that's the story, and like things can change here and there, but like I'll go back, and that's when I add like the meat of the story, right, and like all the little bits that I didn't necessarily get to put in or whatever. So yeah,
it's fascinating.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just like
because I can't relate to it all.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's like I really truly can't say that anytime I've tried to, I'm like, I want to write a story about this thing, I cannot make myself do it. Like it has to be something like it's like an image, or like or it'll start with like a feeling or something, and I'm like, oh, what is that? What's going on there? And then it'll be like a very small idea, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And then it'll be like, oh, is there more to it? What can I add to it? Things like that. But like it doesn't, it feels so far away from anything I manufacture. Like I cannot, if there's an idea that I have that I would like to write about, I can't make myself write about it unless the story comes like to me fully. Like if it doesn't, then it's not going to be there. Like I can have ideas, I can think about something.
See, but I guess a way I try to relate to it is like I've had a very few times where like I feel like I have an idea, but it's before language gets to it.
Yeah.
Or before I put language to it. Mm-hmm. And I guess because some of my...
Do you see it in images?
Not always.
Okay.
I mean, sometimes.
Is it in feelings? Do you have like a feeling?
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess it's like I'm thinking of one particular, like a performance piece I wrote for myself that, like, I didn't have a link for it. I had a bunch of I was connecting them in the piece, but the idea, I realized afterwards that it was like, oh, okay, well, the thing is, like, how do you suspend someone's understanding of a piece having begun? Like, I did, it was a bunch of, like, false starts combined together.
Yeah.
And, anyway, whatever. I gotta poop. Anyway, encountering the idea that, like, you have an idea and the only way to express it, or, you pick the medium based on, like, that's the only way to express that idea.
Yeah.
Which is, something an approach I was taught. Of course, in my brain just became an excuse not to make things.
That doesn't sound like you at all.
It's not very useful.
Yeah.
I find it not terribly useful. Also, I feel like it takes a lot of confidence in your competence of a specific medium. So, or that in my case, I'm like, that's another way. I'm like, oh, well, I don't. Sure, this idea might be expressed best in music, but I don't have the requisite theory or skill with a particular instrument, anyway. Though I am a fan of, like, trying to let yourself to put off putting language to an idea.
Yeah.
Because once you do that, it tends to just edify, it becomes that thing.
Yeah.
Rather than the idea.
Right. Yeah. And I feel like I'm also really superstitious, and I feel like if I do anything with it too soon, it's just gonna it's gonna try to solidify without having any actual
exactly
substance, and then it's just gonna fade away. So I get really I don't like outlining stuff. I don't like I keep a lot of I have a really good memory. People would be surprised. Even though I can't remember anyone's name, and I've started the thing where I'm writing enough stuff that I don't always remember who I'm writing about, and have started
misnaming characters.
Yes, and accidentally calling them my own name. So that's a really embarrassing admission. That's psychopathy or something.
Well,
that's just
it's just narcissism.
I have the old timers. So yeah, it's just I do have a sort of because the new thing I'm writing, I'll be like Marissa, and I'm like, what's her name? I'm like, that's not her name. What's her fucking name? And I get really
just making a face.
Okay,
Don't worry about
me. Okay. You are making a face at me while I'm talking about something, though, so I assume you want me to stop talking about it.
No. What? That's your own shit.
No. Yeah, anyway, but whatever. I do a lot of outlining and stuff like that in my own head. Sometimes I'll write something down to remember it better, but what I mean by that is not I write it down so I can look at it and remember. I write it down so that the act of writing it down. Yeah, is what. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how how notes have helped me. Yeah. Is I never go back to them. I just
not once.
am writing while someone is talking or something.
Sometimes I will go back to notes. When I used to have a job, I used to go back to my notes because I would write things down that I knew that I needed to tell you later that were really funny about the meeting. The time that my boss's boss said algorithm instead of algorithm.
Well, that's not taking notes. That's just documenting.
That's fair. I'm saying I would take notes in the meeting, but I would have to go back to the notes so I'd see the little tiny things that I wrote for you. Yeah. The algorithm thing, that one was the hardest thing I ever had to write down because she said it and I had to not laugh because it's a meeting.
And then you had to think about how to spell it so you remember how it was pronounced.
And then as I was trying to write it down, I just kept hearing her say it over and over in my head. So I had my head completely down.
You just look like you were having a seizure.
Yeah, basically. I was just like my shoulders were just shaking and I was looking down and trying to seem like I was like nodding and writing notes and shit. And I was like
you're just really feeling it.
I'm like, oh, it's such good stuff. Thank you so much. And in reality, I was just like, don't laugh out loud right now. Like, do anything. But every time I was like, A-L-G-O. And then I was imagining you hearing me. And then I was imagining having to say it out loud. I was like, oh, God. Like, oh, man. Yeah, it was a lot. She was a weird one.
Mr. Grinch.
What you looking for? Your phone? Mm-hmm. What you going to get?
I'm going to look at the cast because we got Steve Guttenberg, Peter O'Toole.
Yep. Daryl Hannah.
Daryl Hannah as Mary Plunkett. Liam Neeson is somebody.
Daryl Hannah,
Rogan.
autistic.
Yeah.
She was diagnosed as a kid.
Really?
Yeah. And yeah, she was a little weirdo as a kid, and yeah.
Jennifer Tilly and Peter Gallagher.
Yeah, as two fuckable shits. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, I was seeing this guy, and he's a devil worshiper, right? Well, he's a hairdresser, really, but he devil worships on the side. And we booked this dumb tour because, you know, he likes ghosts. Corpses, dead gerbils, that kind of thing. And he ran off with this Buddhist monk. I mean, how was I supposed to know he was gay? So what about you? Are you gay, too?
No, I'm not. I'm chaste.
Just kidding. Trick question.
Jennifer Tilly, hot in everything, always. Nothing. I don't know what Jennifer Tilly could do that I wouldn't like. I mean, I'd even go to town and liar, liar. Like, there's nothing she could do that.
Is she actually in that?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
With blonde short hair. Yep, I know. Peter Gallagher, never someone that I find attractive because I'm not saying he looks like my brother. He reminds me of my brother. There's just something about him, his like nose to mouth ratio. It just reminds me just enough
see it
of
in
my
this
brother.
Because I've never seen him with like flat hair.
Yeah.
Before.
There's just something, and no shade to Peter Gallagher. He's a much more handsome version of anyone my brother could be. But just the
I think he's attractive, and from what I've seen him, he's a fine actor.
He's great, and I don't. It's, again, no shade to him, but oh my God, just, he reminds me of my brother and I just can't do that. Someone else that reminds me of my brother is, what do you call him?
Tony Shalhoub.
No, Dinklage.
Peter?
Normal size Dinklage is that
regular size Dinklage?
Regular size Dinklage, yeah. He came into the theater one time and I was so shocked. I was like, because my brother was going to come visit me and I knew it. And I thought it was my actual brother for a second.
Ever?
He did. Yeah, he did.
Here?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. And regular size Dinklage came in and I was like.
I mean, probably I used to say normal size. And then he just
didn't respond to me.
You.
And I hadn't seen my brother in a couple of years. So it wasn't,
I wonder what happened to that guy.
I know.
Still around.
Yeah, I know. I think whatever. I don't have to dox him. Okay.
The other couple is, also those kids.
Oh my God.
It's pretty scary, huh, kids?
Didn't you see Nightmare on Elm Street? Give me a break.
But Martin Ferrero plays the parapsychologist, ghost hunter.
I was like, I almost called him Miguel Ferrer, and I was like, that is not right. But it's like it's like the
Connie Booth played Marge.
It's like a Wish version of Miguel Ferrer's name. Like, what is it? Martin Ferrero, yeah.
Plunket, this is your doing! Darling.
Yes, I think we could stay one more night.
Tupping, that's what it is. Tupping.
Tup with a...
What?
Tup with a ghost and get the grave.
Yeah, and then what is the other one? Stooping? Stupping or
Starping?
Tupping and then stooping. I don't know what it is. No. I don't know.
Stooping is something else.
Stooping? I don't know. It was something.
Scarping.
Scarping? Sculping? Oh,
maybe it's sculping.
Oh, I don't like those. Neil Jordan, please explain the sculpting and shit. It was so weird. I don't know.
Funny, romantic, sexy. What more can I say?
Nope.
I love this movie.
Nope.
It's one of my favorites.
Nope.
And I've been trying to get it on video for ages.
All those things are incorrect. It's not funny. It's not sexy. There was like almost not. The only thing that I enjoyed about it, and I like this kind of stuff. I really enjoy when I think The Cell does something similar, where so they have like the stage set, and it's like the ocean. And it's like they show like the stage set pieces or whatever, and then it like the guests I don't know how to describe it. Like when a wave comes up, they get splashed with a bunch of water, but you don't see like I don't know. I really liked the way that happened.
So the stage is one of those old timey. I don't know. I've seen it in, I guess, like 1920s set or teens set things, or like vaudeville, where you have moving set pieces where someone's just out in the wings, like moving things back and forth, so they can look like the ocean or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're layered in upstage to downstage, or
back to front,
backwards.
Yeah,
I had that backwards. Downstage is closest to the audience. To create, depth, and so things can pass between them and whatever. So, but so the camera will be facing the stage and the moving parts, and then a whale comes, and then reverse angle to the audience.
Yeah, and you see a whale tail.
See a giant fucking whale tail, and then a giant gush of water onto them. The thing that really got me is when the kid gets captured by the tentacle. That would have, as a kid, that really would have been whoa.
Right. And it's so interesting. I love stuff like that. I mean, I like the idea that like you're showing something, like the Cell does it a little differently, but like in the movie, she's like in a dream and she's trying to communicate with the kid, and she's like, let's go sailing. And they look over and there's like, they're in the desert, and she's like, let's go sailing. And like, she looks over and there's like a like old ship that's like crumbling, and she's like, that's too old. And then she looks over and there's like a ship, just like a toy ship on the ground. She's like, that's perfect. And like in the end of the movie, she ends up taking it, like, it's the whole thing where she like has to wake up and they don't go sailing, all this stuff. But like at the end of the movie, she takes him sailing, where she sets it in the tree. Like she sets the boat, she props the boat up in a tree, and has a blue blanket like strapped like from another tree to like one tree to another, so it's flowing and looks like water. And she's like, we're going sailing. And I love that idea that like you can say something and do something, and it's not the literal interpretation, like you're not literally doing it, but like you're showing like imagery of it, but it means the same thing. And I feel like movies are really, very like, obviously you can do that in anything you do, but like the idea of it in a movie, the way, where you can show an ocean and you can show an octopus, but they're choosing to show like the flat imagery of it, and to imply that like it's not real, but they're feeling it anyway. Like, I don't know. I really liked that part, but that was pretty much it. That was like, that's all I really liked of the movie.
Well, and again, I felt like I got the sense that like, oh, this would have been really great if we'd seen more of it, or if Jordan had been able to do whatever he wanted, whatever his intention was with it.
Right. Like, it's just like, I guess I really enjoy, I think the thing that's so weird about this is that I don't understand the point of this movie, and it doesn't feel like anything Neil Jordan inspired that I've ever seen. I've never seen a Neil Jordan movie like this.
It feels so divorced from...
Yeah, and it's so, that's what was unenjoyable about it, though, because it didn't have the weird, strange realism that his movies, even when they're showing like an otherness, you know, like even when he's like directing a vampire movie, there's like some sort of like realness to it that's like interesting.
Yeah, I'm realizing he does a lot of sort of playing with myth and legend and perception of those things.
Yeah.
Like watching him talk about, like I watched a couple of interviews when he was working on or doing junkets for Undine, which I don't really know about.
I've never seen that one,
But he's talking about, making it sort of a dark film. Yeah. And also Greta, which is a more recent one of his, I think. I don't know. These are films I know nothing about.
I haven't seen Greta, But I haven't seen really any of his like more recent ones, if I'm honest.
I've apparently seen like 2 of his films before we did this. Okay, so we got Liz Smith playing his O'Toole's mom.
Yeah. Who didn't start acting until she was over the age of 50.
Oh, hell yeah. Tom Rohrer plays his deceased father.
Pow.
You know, then we got a bunch of other folks.
Yeah, there's a ton of people.
That don't,
Although I love the scene at the beginning when everybody first gets there and they're playing music or whatever and the girl's singing and Peter O'Toole and the other guy, one of the other like staff, they're sitting at the bar.
Oh yeah.
Gutenberg's like, this is great. They're like, shut up. It's so fucking, the way that they do it is so fucking funny. I don't know why. And then Peter O'Toole's just sitting there like, he's so fucking funny. He was so funny in this.
Yeah, too bad it's all
shit.
Wasted.
Yeah. Would you recommend this movie?
No.
I really wouldn't either. I would recommend it if you're a Neil Jordan fan and you've never seen it. I would be like, you should watch this and see how strange and un-Neil Jordan like it is, you know, or if you're getting into it, it's a good way to see how a mainstream sort of approach to someone like Neil Jordan.
If you want to see Daryl Hannah attempt an Irish accent.
Rape.
Drink to me only with thine eyes, and I will pledge with mine. Or leave a kiss within the cup, and I'll not ask for a wine.
Not as terrible as, you know, a lot of other people that I've seen attempt it. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Like, I think this is a great example of when someone is like, you know, we talked about how he doesn't have like what do you call it? A traditional career. He doesn't have an educational background in film,
right? Which
is what sets him apart and makes his stuff so interesting, is because he isn't trained to do this kind of thing,
right?
And so that's really, it just adds something to it. And I feel like this movie is like so commercial.
These guys are the real auteurs, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But no, I mean, like, you know, this is like a major, this was like a Hollywood movie, and it goes to show that like, those things don't mix. Yeah. Or they don't always mix. Like, if you want to hire someone that's a great independent filmmaker and you want to come in and you want to have all of these things that you do and change, it's not going to be a film from them because, you know, so yeah, it's a super interesting, like, that was really what was.
I was also seeing him talk also. I mean, I don't do a lot of listening to directors for a reason.
Yeah. Correct. Hashtag same.
It reminded me of listening to the commentary on Darkly Noon.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the guy's name.
But
he also, I mean, he didn't do any film school. He studied, he was a visual artist.
Yeah.
Which is very evident in Darkly Noon, at least.
Yeah.
He's got his first name is the name of
Philip Ridley.
Oh, Ridley. Never mind. I had it backwards. I was going to say his first name is the last name of somebody more famous, but no, it's his last name is the first name of someone more famous. Tony Scott. Director of...
Tony Scott?
Mm-hmm.
He made Numbers, right? The show Numbers. Am I wrong?
I don't know. It's not what I'm referring to, believe it or not.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, he directed a film that came out 2 years prior to this one.
Oh my God. Yeah, he was a producer for Numbers. The show Numbers.
He's no longer alive, is that true?
I don't know. Girl.
I'm constantly surprised when I'm reminded that Ridley Scott is...
Yeah, he died in 12. He 12. He and Ridley Scott look a lot alike, though. They're brothers.
I've definitely never seen them together, and I don't...
But, like...
I don't know if I could pick Ridley Scott out of a lineup. And I don't know that I've ever seen Tony Scott.
That's him, and it'd be like, no, that's... Maybe they don't look alike. I don't know. Okay, Ridley...
Are you thinking of the Raimi brothers?
And Tony Scott. Yeah, I'm thinking of... No, I don't. No, I'm
Ron Howard and...
I'm thinking of Ridley Scott. That's who I'm thinking of. Because if you Google Tony Scott, Ridley Scott's picture comes up. So like they're
so they
identical.
really do look like...
Yeah, no, never mind.
What's Ron Howard's brother's name?
Give me a second. It is Clint Howard.
Clint Howard.
Who I feel like I am more familiar with Clint than I am with Ron Howard, acting wise.
Oh yeah.
Because Clint was in Star Trek.
Yeah.
And he was also in a lot of... He always is the weird little bald guy in everything.
You know, I feel like until Curtis Armstrong started playing those roles, what?
Weird little bald guy. It's such a nice way to talk about something.
It is. It's sweet. He's no rants.
Stooping,
Starping.